Spain has become the new spotlight of NATO, not for its strength, but for its weakness. According to Reuters, US President Donald Trump made it clear America will no longer protect countries that refuse to pay for their own security. And this time, the message was aimed straight at Spain. During his meeting with Finnish President Alexander Stubb, Trump said firmly, "We have one laggard, Spain. Maybe they should be kicked out of NATO." For many in Europe, those words sounded like provocation. But in Washington, they were seen as a long overdue correction, a call for discipline inside the world's most powerful military alliance. AP News reported that Spain's defense spending barely reaches 1.28% of its GDP, lower than Greece, Poland, or Romania, countries with much smaller economies. At the NATO summit in The Hague last June, all member states agreed to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP by 2035. Most European nations accepted the challenge. Spain refused. Madrid demanded an exemption, arguing that social programs and fiscal priorities come first. To Washington, that was the definition of freeloading. As The Guardian noted, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez insisted his country has contributed a lot to NATO operations abroad. But in America's eyes, contribution without commitment means nothing. NATO doesn't run on words, it runs on funding, readiness, and resolve. Defense News pointed out that between 2023 and 2025, most of Spain's modernization programs stalled. Fighter jet upgrades were delayed, naval procurement slowed, and radar systems remained outdated. While Eastern Europe was reinforcing its defenses against Russia, Spain was cutting back on joint drills in the Mediterranean, even as the US continued footing the bill for regional security. Then came the breaking point. As Eurasian Times reported, Spain canceled its planned purchase of the F-35 stealth fighter from the United States in 2025. Officially, the decision was about cost and control. Madrid claimed the jet was too expensive and that Washington had too much influence over its software systems. But for NATO, that move sent shockwaves. The F-35 isn't just a fighter jet, it's the backbone of Allied air interoperability, connecting radars, data, and communication networks across member states. By rejecting it, Spain effectively stepped away from NATO's most advanced defense infrastructure. Instead, Madrid threw its lot in with the European Future Combat Air System program, a joint project with France and Germany that's still years from completion. And according to Eurasian Times, Spanish officials even considered Turkey's KAAN stealth fighter as a stopgap. That raised eyebrows in Washington. Was Spain still a loyal ally, or was it hedging its bets between alliances? At the same time, AP News highlighted Spain's controversial arms embargo on Israel earlier this year, a move seen in Washington as politically motivated and strategically short-sighted. For many American officials, that decision reinforced the perception that Madrid's foreign policy was drifting away from core NATO values. Still, Spain holds undeniable strategic value. Its geography makes it a gateway between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. US bases in Rota and Morón remain crucial for logistics, surveillance, and rapid deployment across North Africa and Southern Europe. But patience in the Pentagon is wearing thin. If Spain refuses to step up, those bases could be scaled down or shifted to allies like Italy or Portugal, who are far more cooperative. For Washington, the message is simple. Security is not a gift, it's a contract. If you want protection, you must pay your share. And if Spain wants to stay under NATO's shield, it must stop hiding behind excuses about domestic spending. As Reuters and Defence News both explained, Trump's ultimatum isn't about anger, it's about accountability. For decades, the US has covered nearly 70% of NATO's operating costs, from missile defense to satellite networks. Meanwhile, many allies continue to underinvest and overpromise. That era, Trump says, is over. Analysts quoted by Defense News warn that Spain's hesitation could carry real consequences: reduced access to U.S. intelligence, fewer joint exercises, and limited access to cutting-edge American weapons. Simply put, NATO can survive without Spain, but Spain cannot survive without NATO. And while Russia quietly watches from the sidelines, hoping for cracks to appear, America's pressure campaign could actually strengthen the alliance, forcing Europe to take defense seriously for once. Some in the Pentagon call it shock therapy, tough love for an alliance that's grown too comfortable under America's protection. The truth is, the world is getting more dangerous by the day. From the Black Sea to the Pacific, authoritarian powers are testing the resolve of the West. If NATO fails to hold its members accountable, the entire system of global security could unravel overnight. That's why the United States is demanding a new kind of discipline, and Spain is the test case. Not out of hostility, but out of principle. Because membership in the world's greatest alliance is not an entitlement, it's a responsibility. Trump knows his words sound harsh, but sometimes harsh words are what history remembers as turning points. He's not trying to destroy NATO, he's trying to save it by forcing it to grow up. In the end, as Reuters and Defense News both noted, this isn't merely a threat. It's a wake-up call. Spain now faces two paths: rise up and contribute, or fade out of relevance. Because in this new geopolitical era, the slow will be left behind and the weak will be replaced. If you believe the United States is right to demand fairness in global defense, share your thoughts in the comments. Is Trump destroying NATO or saving it from collapse? Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring the bell, and stay tuned, because the next chapter of this power struggle is only just beginning.